Okay, the big issue right now for the internet is the repeal of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act. Now, this is very important because this is the part of the act that makes it so that social media sites are not are not liable for the stuff that people post. In other words, as long as the only thing they have to remove is if it's illegal, and then they have to prove that they removed it quickly. Other than that, there's no liability on social media sites. So somebody can say whatever it is they want, as long as they're not breaking the law. There's no legal obligation for companies to remove it. Now, here's the problem with that. Biden wants to repeal this and take it away because he wants to fight threats to democracy from hostile foreign state actors spreading misinformation. He says he wants to fight the fake news. In other words, he really wants to be able to censor any kind of dissent. The QAnon, the conspiracy theory, people of questionable mental health, false information being put out allegedly by foreign states, etc. So in that way, he wants to make it so that the social media or the tech giants in this particular field can be held liable for what they do. And then, of course, if you do that, then they're going to censor the hell out of everybody and make sure that every single opinion that can come through is completely middle of the road, non-controversial, non-even power questioning in order to save themselves from any kind of liability. Now, Trump wants to repeal it as well. However, his motivations for getting rid of Section 230 is that he wants to make it so that there's less moderation. I mean, he has already gone out and started threatening social media sites for what he calls censorship. Now, you remember when he put out tweets about the mail-in voting, and he made a whole bunch of fantastic claims that don't have anything to back them up whatsoever, and he was corrected by Twitter. They put an informational thing underneath his tweet, get the facts about actual mail-in voting, because Trump was lying in order to serve his base and to essentially usurp the elections. Well, he decided to turn around and write an executive order that would punish social media sites, particularly Twitter, for this. Now, that battle is in court, and it's unlikely that he's going to win because he doesn't have the authority to do something like that. However, both of these men are running for office, planning to get rid of that thing, that whole section that makes social media not liable for the content. But the question is here, everybody believes in censorship in some form or another, whether that be CP or something else. Everybody believes in censorship to some degree. The problem is, how do you prove something's fake news or not? Now, to us, it should be fairly obvious that when you make an accusation that has no evidence behind it whatsoever, you're doing the fake news. You're just making things up. Like claiming that members of Antifa are going around dressed up as firefighters and deliberately spreading the wildfires. And then 911 services are complaining that their lines are jammed because they're getting calls from people who are being told by QAnon that this is the case. So, I mean, how do we really determine that? If we say the Iraq War was caused by Iraq wanting to quit the US dollar for oil trade, I mean, does that become a conspiracy theory now? Because the official explanation given was weapons of mass destruction, and then later it was for freedom. Neither of which happened. But I digress. I mean, we know what imperialism is. It's an economically... It's a result of a particular development in the stage of monopoly capital. But what if you just simply don't believe that? Now you're doing the fake news. Look at Snopes. Snopes deliberately took that picture of John McCain, with Abu Ambar, with Baghdadi, the head of ISIS. the one where John McCain was photographed with the head of ISIS, and then just claimed that it wasn't real. Oh, it's not him, it's somebody else. Well, yeah, it is Baghdadi and John McCain, but Snopes just turns around and lies. I mean, we've seen Snopes lie on several occasions. Once the site got big enough, all of a sudden it became politically motivated, and I don't think that's a coincidence. If you wield enough power in capitalist society and you have the ability to seriously fact check, you're going to get attacked sooner or later, or controlled. So we already know that these fact-checking sites are wholly dishonest. Even Facebook says one of their fact-checkers is Ben Shapiro's group. Because they have even a drop of honesty? And the real difficult thing becomes, how do you determine what is truth? And even if you do, some people still don't even want to believe it. I mean, you can hand everybody every single bit of proof about anything, and there will still be somebody out there who denies it. If you can have QAnon convince people of complete nonsense, then you can convince them of anything. I have seen people defend Donald Trump, admit that he did that thing to that 13-year-old girl, but then turn around and defend it by saying he did it just to get in with the deep state. If you can use that kind of mental gymnastics, you can believe anything. And the question is, how much power do we want to give private companies to be able to censor us? For them to determine what is true, because you know exactly what's going to happen. Everything's going to be held true as whatever's in the interest of the bourgeoisie. And we well know that. So I, for one, hope it actually doesn't get appealed. The more dissenting opinion we can have, supposedly the healthier a democracy is, which is really funny because the U.S. democracy is really not looking all that healthy right now. But I digress. So how do we? How do we, in the end, know that something is really true?
Thank you for watching. If you like this program, then please head over to my Patreon page and set up a monthly donation. It's your donations that keep this program running. Also, if you would like, please rate, comment, subscribe, and share in various social media.